Magic.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show, our first show of Mad Magic, all things Magic the Gathering, but specifically how it relates to the money, the finance of Magic the Gathering. I'm your co-host, Mono, my ever-present, ever-charismatic other co-host, Jay Thalet. What's up, Thalet? How you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm living the dream. Just waiting for some MTG finance to tickle my pickle.
Yeah, so some dollars and cents behind Magic cards here, but there's been a lot of exciting stuff happening out in the world of Magic over the past few weeks, specifically recently here. Let's talk about Vegas. What did Vegas do for Magic? Anything? How's Hasbro these days? How's Wizards?
Well, there was a lot of stuff going on in Vegas this past weekend, as expected. Vegas, as most people know, it's the biggest convention in Magic the Gathering in the year. And this year happened to have the Magic the Gathering World Championships. That was composed of a Wilds of Eldraine limited format, and it was composed of a Wilds of Eldraine integrated standard format.
Who won? Do you know the winner?
Actually, some foreign guy. I should know this. J. Emmanuel something or another.
Okay. Now, in that tournament, we had a few announcements that I thought were interesting. One of the announcements was they started talking about the next few years, and they sort of kind of spilled their guts, didn't they?
Yeah, they've actually laid out the structure of releases up until 2026. We have some crazy stuff going. They keep pumping all of this Universes Beyond stuff. We've got some crazy intersectionality between stuff like Jurassic Park and Magic the Gathering. All kinds of secret layers that are integrating themselves. Different movies, any IP you can imagine. I'm just waiting for the Beanie Baby secret layer. Personally, my mom's gonna love that one.
The Beanie Baby secret layer. Yeah, no, that's going to be a good one. But inside of the tournament, and when they were talking about all this stuff, a card, a card rose to the top. So something that we are going to do here on Mad Magic every time is we want to know what Thaled's best 5 cards of the week are. Maybe they're better, maybe they're really starting to suck, but something is going on with these cards for our 5 picks of the week. So let's get to this. We have card number 1, which I thought was interesting. Raphine Scheming Seer. So for those that don't know, that's a gold card, white, blue, black, 1/4 flying, ward 1 creature. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature convenes X, where X is the number of attacking creatures. Why do you like this card? Like, why does this show up on your list this week?
Well, in all reality, this card is probably the second best mythic in all of Standard. And throughout history, the fact that the second best mythic in all of Standard, and it probably falls short only to Shieldred being a $50 to $70 card, depending on which version of the card you get, which one of the 69 versions or so. But the Raphine Scheming Seer, it's going for $2. So you've got a huge disparity, and we're talking about a mythic that was printed in a set, Streets of New Capenna, that wasn't opened. No one cracked those packs. So I think that there's a huge opportunity to maybe pick up a brick of these cards, maybe pick up 25, 50 of them at the price of about $2, maybe $2.50 max. And I think the buy list on Card Kingdom, TCG Player, within the next 3 to 6 month time frame, you'll be able to flip those for a dramatic profit. My target for those is probably $8 to $10 within the next 4 to 6 months, and that's buy list price.
Right. So that's like what, 400 to 500% increase. Well, if it goes from 2 to 10, right? What is that? Times 5. So was this card, and that was something that I think I was hearing, the schemer was being used a lot at the World Championships, right?
Yeah, it was Esper control. It was the key card in Esper control. It was the dominant deck. I believe there was 3 copies of the deck that made the top 8, which is just insane. The card is amazing. To me, in my eyes, second best mythic in all of Standard.
Okay, going on to card number 2, Baron Master Wizard. Baron Master Wizard counts as a wizard. This is a blue creature. Pay 2, sacrifice a permanent. Return target creature card to owner's hand. It's just a little 1/1 twink. Why do you like this guy?
See, this is where we go back to the old school. Now, this is a reserveless card, straight out of Urza's Saga. One of the reasons I like this card is because it's so far off its all-time highs, right? And it has an infinite combo, which combos with the most powerful card, arguably, within the entire Commander format. And as we know, the Commander format is probably the format that drives the price of Magic the Gathering cards more than any other format. So in combo with Dockside Extortionist, you're able to produce an infinite number of treasures. And I just think that this card has so much potential, and it's being used more and more and more. And as it's being used more and more, it's going to come across more eyes, and people are going to want this card. And being reserve list, there's only so many available.
All right, so card number 3, and so you all know who are playing at home, Thalid gives me this shit, and I got to look at him right off the rip because I just looked at card number 3 here. The fucking Dwarven Armorer from Fallen Empires. He's a dwarf, summon dwarf, pay 1 mountain. 1 mana mountain, tap him, discard a card from your hand to put either a +1 defense or +1 offense counter on target creature. He's also he's a 0/2 creature. Like, come on. Why do you like a Fallen Empire card to be one that we should pay attention to?
Well, clearly because the name dwarf is in the title. And we all know about my dwarf fetish. That's not quite true. That's only half the truth. Well, the reason this card is so good is because it combos so well with a very good competitive CEDH deck, Magda Brazen Outlaw. Now, when you have Magda Brazen Outlaw in play, which only costs a colorless and a red to cast, whenever you attack with a dwarf, you get a treasure token. So you have all these. Basically, it turns all of these 1 red mana casting cost dwarves into mana dwarves. And let's be honest, red isn't exactly green. We don't have access to Boreal Druid, Llanowar Elves, Finhorn Elves, and such cards like that. So all of these dwarves in conjunction with Magda can produce quite an effective and overwhelming amount of treasures and a really good combo deck.
You know, this card I was looking up, this is also a reserve list card, right?
It's a reserve list card, and it is in Fallen Empires. Granted, it's they were printed to the moon, but so is everything in Magic, in modern Magic. And this card, being on the reserve list, can't be printed again. So this is a necessary component until they print better dwarves maybe in the future. This is a 100% necessary component in Magda Brazen Outlaw. Magda Brazen, in my opinion, Magda Brazen Outlaw is undoubtedly a top 20 deck in the CEDH format. One of the for certain, actually, I would say the fastest growing format in all of Magic, and the popularity is just exploding.
Okay, so one reason to hold on to your Fallen Empire cards besides him to Turak. And so card number 4, this is a card that I'm seeing here that I've always liked. And this card seems to kind of creep back around from time to time. Frenetic Efreet. Gold card, colorless, blue-red, flying, 2/1. Flip a coin. It'll phase out if you win the flip. And I've personally watched in tournaments this card drive the opponent positively mad when the coin flip keeps coming up in the other person's favor. Just having to let it go to a coin flip is enough to start to psych out your opponent. We've all sort of loved this card. When it came out in Mirage at first, not a lot of us thought that much about it to begin with. But as the meta sorted out back then, it definitely started to show up in a lot of these decks. So, but why do we have it now? Are you throwing it on your list?
Well, back in the day, you and I have both been playing since the Reagan administration.
Shh.
So, so I know you can't tell by our dashingly handsome boy band looks.
To be fair, Reagan left before Magic was invented.
That's true.
So you have not dated us yet. You were just using a euphemism. We're both 25 years old. All right, go ahead.
True. So back in our day, during the Mirage block constructed format, which was kind of a big deal back then, block constructed formats were often the formats for Pro Tour qualifiers or sometimes Pro Tours. There was probably a top tier deck in that format was a red-blue deck that featured Mana Wars, Cloud Elementals, Frenetic Freets, and a number of direct damage spells and counter spells. And the Frenetic Freet was one of the key parts of the offense that provided card advantage. The reason that it's good today is it combines really well with a card called Tavern Scoundrel. Tavern Scoundrel is a common out of Modern Horizons 2. And with this card, it's a red card. It allows you to produce infinite treasure tokens. Being a red card, anytime you have blue and red in your commander's color identity, you can have both of these cards on the table. You can simply flip a coin, flip a coin, flip a coin, flip a coin, and each time in doing so, you're creating 2 treasures.
Right. So if you win the coin flip, create 2 treasure tokens. So I get both of them on the board and I say, I'm going to flip 10 billion times. Now, here's something interesting, though. If you declare to do that and I lightning bolt, it's a commander, right? But whatever. I lightning bolt it. Do those coin flips interrupt itself? This is where the math, this is where you come in, Thala. This is where the math starts killing me, right? Because you have to win the coin flip, but things have to start resolving first. So do I go to lightning bolt it? You do 10 billion more flips, and then those all have to resolve first?
The coin flips still happen. I can say coin flip, coin flip, coin flip. And that's essentially how the combo works.
Combo win condition.
Yep. And anytime that you're creating an infinite amount of treasure tokens, you're in a pretty good chance to win the game, especially if you have some sort of outlet for that in your command zone. In addition, at the same time, another reason that I really like the Frenetic Freet is Wizards produced a secret layer that was a coin flip secret layer. I say in recent times, however, this came out approximately a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Although it took about a year for it to get into the hands of players.
So, I want to make sure that everyone just heard what you said, or at least I think what you said. People did pre-orders and it was a year for fulfillment on the cards?
It took a year to fulfill the orders for the secret layer.
People fight wars in less than a year.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, alongside of that, secret layers, modern masters, this is tangential, but since we're Mad Magic and talk about money, what are the odds that when those sets come out that they double in value of what you paid for them? Ballpark this.
Double in value, the odds?
Yeah. If you leave it unopened, right?
Not to be punny, but a coin flip.
Okay, so about half of the time that people have bought these things, they've gone up at least twice.
About half the time, yeah. They do. There are some, like, for example, I have a secret layer behind you right now. This is actually probably the highest appreciating of the secret layers. This is the Secret Layers OMG Kitties. Okay, everybody loves cats, unless you're a weirdo or a serial killer.
Okay, listen, I'm forgetting. We've only done 4 cards of 5. So card number 5, well, you go ahead and say, you kind of cheated on me on our very first friggin' episode. You cheat on me in 5 cards. What is number 5?
It wouldn't be the first time I cheated on you, let's be honest. It's actually just a collection of anything from Alpha that is playable as a common in Near Mint or LP Plus. If there has just been so much negativity in the Magic community as a result of the the Magic 30 pack debacle.
The $250 booster packs they did buy 4 of.
Yeah, so you had to spend $1,000 for cards that were essentially glorified proxies.
So staying on the alphas though. So
this is like artificial scarcity.
You like the alpha commons, yeah.
All this negativity has driven down the price of near mint and light play plus alpha commons way off of all-time highs. And I'm talking like a near mint lightning bolt just, around the post-COVID, as I said earlier, helicopter money. Dude, these lightning bolts, if you wanted a near mint lightning bolt raw, you're talking about spending $1,100, $1,200 minimum.
But now they're about $750 though, right?
Yeah, they've dropped dramatically. So you've got cards like Disenchant, Terror, Llanowar Elves, Dark Ritual, cards that are useful in Commander like Sacrifice. All of these cards that are very playable in the format. Wild Growth, that's another one that's great in Commander. All of these cards in near mint condition, the rarity of them hasn't changed. In fact, there's just been slightly more attrition. There's probably slightly less of them than there were 2 years ago.
Right.
However, the price has just fallen through the floor, and it's all because of this negativity. Now, in my experience, I have experience in all kinds of markets. Anytime something like this happens, anytime there's so much negativity, anytime there's blood in the streets like this, it's the accumulation phase. It's time to start buying. And that's why, as my number 5 pick today, I decided to be an asshole and throw, 10 or 15 cards into the mix altogether. Fireball, Red Elemental Blast, any of these cards.
It seems like any cards you could actually use, right?
Right.
Yeah, if you're actually going to play. So this dovetails into a conversation that we've been having, which is the general state of affairs in Magic. Now, look, in the world, everyone got COVID money, right? I guess. And then everything went through the roof. Bitcoin surged, right? During all this stuff. And so we saw these prices go way, way up. And so there's an argument to say, hey, like things are starting to level out. But now I think that argument has kind of come and gone. It seems like it's now going back down even below like 2019 levels, right? On a lot of these cards.
That is from what I've noticed, most cards have fallen to about the lows of, or a little above of 2020. And
so why so the market in general, why does it keep going down? Is it going to continue to go down? You have to tell me and everyone that watches this show with 100% certainty where the bottom is without being wrong.
Well, this is not financial advice.
Oh, as financial, legal, accounting advice, and as a medical doctor, what, when, and where will the bottom frickin' be on all this stuff, right?
As a medical doctor, in my opinion, just because it burns, it does not mean it's syphilis. But the bottom, I believe, is coming close. But if you notice, we're in a bear market everywhere. Real estate's in a bear market. The S&P 500's in a bear market.
Your sex life is in a bear market. I mean,
you kind of have to have a sex life before it's in a bear market. I do think we're near the bottom. And here's one of the big reasons that I think we're near the bottom. And I didn't know, I'm just going to briefly get into this because I think I'd like to talk about this a little bit more on another show. But there's a huge correlation between the price of Magic the Gathering and a bull market in Bitcoin.
All right, let's let that one breathe, by the way. And we're not going to talk about the whys on that. I've heard you go off on this before, and when you say it out loud, it actually makes a lot of sense to me. But it takes longer than 30 seconds to sort of get through all of the whys. But I'll tell you, and so we'll say it here today, and then you will talk about it on one of our upcoming shows. But if and when Bitcoin rallies and Magic cards go with it, you could take a bow. It's a hell of a statement to say that those guys are linked
right now.
No, that's a premature bow. Don't you dare take a friggin' premature. You can't do premature
I do
bows.
everything prematurely. Ask my wife.
Hence the bear market part. Okay, so you think we're close to the bottom now?
I do. I feel like we're getting closer and closer to the bottom. And like I said, one of the big reasons for that is because we're 85% through the next Bitcoin halving. And that is one of the big reasons I think we're close to the bottom.
So this is not a Bitcoin show, but you also catch that. So sometime in the next year, Thalid here is saying that Bitcoin is also going to have its rally. So mortgage the house, pull the money out of the 401k, pay the penalty. Definitely pay the penalty. Don't matter.
One kidney.
Dump everything into Magic cards and Bitcoin. And then you just tell your significant other and your family, you'd be like, you shut up. I know what I'm doing. You don't know. I'm buying Kurt apes, which are not actually from Alpha, but no, they're from Alpha, right? No, those are Arabian Nights, right? Yeah. So
we printed on your glass.
Yeah, but they don't know that. Your family doesn't know they're from Arabian Nights. You just tell them it was a good buy. You tell them, you'd be like, you shut up. I bought them. We're gonna be millionaires. And then you go in the next room and you slam the door, but then you wait like 5 seconds and you open it back up, and then you got to also start with and another thing, and then just say whatever you want at that point and slam the door again. You heard it here first. From Jay Thalid, not from Mono. From Jay Thalid said all that, not me.
I'll then be subject to receiving domestic violence, but that's okay because I gave everyone great financial advice. That isn't actually financial advice.
Right. So like the force of nature for Alpha, that's not a common, which to be fair is not your pick, but the force of nature reprinted into Oblivion, multiple card prints, but that card is like an Alpha. If it's a near minty, that's like 10 G's. So you think that's pretty close to as low as it'll go?
Some cards like that, they may have a little farther to fall. Here's the thing about really pricey Alpha cards, right?
Okay.
So
outside of power, of course. Although power's going down too.
Well, not so much. Not percentage-wise, there's a huge difference between the drop in power and a card like Dark Ritual in Alpha near mint.
In which way? Like the power percentage-wise is dropped by a much larger percentage or smaller percentage?
By much smaller percentage.
Okay.
And here's the reason why. Okay.
Yeah.
Who owns $25,000 Magic cards?
People that don't need $25,000. Yeah. Right. They can hold them.
So who needs to sell a $25,000 Magic card? Not the people that own them.
Right.
So they can just hold. Like these are the kind of people that the people that hold these $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 Magic cards, they don't need to sell because they don't need. If you are rich enough to own a 25,000 piece of luxury cardboard, you don't need to sell it.
Whereas you got Demonic Tutor and you get $900 for it, that could really help this month, and you can like offload that thing.
Yeah, you might need to sell that Demonic Tutor to pay your rent. That might have been your favorite card, your best card in your collection, and then you're just like, oh man, we can't make the rent this month. We got to sell this because the economy is in the shithole.
Okay, so your non-medical, non-accounting, non-legal advice here, you think buy across the board, just Alpha, or buy reserve list too? I mean, I don't want to like open up a whole other can of worms here because we're going to run here in a couple seconds, everybody, but what do you think people should be doing now in this? If you've got cards, hold them. Should you be trading them around? I mean, what is the move to be making over the next several months?
The move to be making right now is dump everything post reserve list that you can, because under the current leadership of Wizards of the Coast, I think these cards are going to be getting printed into the dirt. However, I think this is one of the best accumulation phases for older reserve list Magic the Gathering cards for a lot of reasons.
And in case anyone's wondering, we have recently come out and that's Cynthia, by the way, at the top of Hasbro there. Cynthia, you're the problem. Okay. Although there are other people inside of Wizards of the Coast that are not fans of the reserve list. We'll talk about that on another show. But Mana Crypt, 18 more printings coming out like in a single set, right?
Yeah, there's something like on I'm not exactly.
It's so stupid, right? Like, why don't you just
I'm
make
not
it
sure
180 at that point? I mean, what the frick are they doing?
But we've got a regular version that's some alternate art, and then there's 6 different parallel or 5 different parallel neon versions, a foil version of each one of those, and an etch version of each one of those. And
JFC. All right, fine.
It's just
Right?
a headache. But I really believe that I firmly believe that this is a great accumulation phase for older reserveless cards. This is the time to get them because of the negativity that is just surrounding Magic as a whole. And this is the time that wealth accumulation happens for the average Joe. This is the time to be buying. This is not the time to be selling, in my opinion, not financial advice.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our very first inaugural show of Mad Magic. I'm Mono, Jay Thalet. Thank you for joining me. You're always going to join me. Otherwise, I don't know what the frick I'm going to be talking about. Stay tuned to next week. We're going to be talking about what's going on with Cynthia up at the top, what's going on with the markets, the secondary markets, all these things. We're going to be coming at you every week here about all the latest happenings and doing deep dives into what to get and what not to get. It's going to be a lot of fun. The shit show will continue. It's Mad Magic. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Magic.